Hello, Rise Up Visionaries. I'm Susan May, and I'm here to share my journey to inspire you on your journey of unplugging. Okay, so today I am here to tell you about the Katniss Method. And yes, this is something that I made up. And those of you who are Hunger Games fans may recognize the name Katniss. I will not be sharing anything that significantly spoils the story for those of you who have not read the books. And if you haven't read the books, I'm not sure why you haven't read them yet, because they are amazing. And so I highly recommend this series, the Hunger Games series. I'm going to be sharing that in a few minutes, but I wanted to, I'm live right now. I wanted to first kind of recap my live from Monday, in which I talked about the difference between burnout and depression. And I want to add another little caveat or detail into that discussion. So to me, a big difference between burnout and depression. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I'm out kind of far away from the Wi-Fi signal. So burnout occurs when we just spend way too much energy and we don't take the time to replenish ourselves. Now it could be doing something fun that we love, it's something we're passionate about, or it could be just regular daily life. It doesn't have to be something that we love, but in general, it's you're doing too much and not giving back to yourself enough, in my opinion. Whereas depression is more like you're kind of frozen, and your energy is frozen and you just don't feel like doing anything. It's a lack of motivation. I feel like, yeah, so in that way, I feel depression or burnout can lead to depression if we're not careful. The other thing I want to kind of throw in there is that sadness and depression are not necessarily the same thing, although we often think of them together. You can feel sadness and even grief and not be depressed. Sadness is, the feeling that we feel when something bad happens, or, usually we associate it with loss, right? But if your energy continues to move and you allow yourself to feel that sadness and you allow yourself to express it, it doesn't have to lead to depression. And so all of this stuff is about your energy and tuning into your energy and keeping that energy moving, which is why I'm not super knowledgeable about Chinese medicine or Chinese philosophy, but I love the idea of qi and the idea of our energy moving and feeling that energy moving and flowing in our bodies and in our lives. And being in a state of flow is for sure the opposite of being depressed. When we're in a state of flow, like, we are just focused, we feel creative, time kind of ceases to exist because we're so focused on what we're doing and enjoying it so much. So these are just some ideas that I really think are important for us to kind of live our best lives. Okay, so this idea of energy flowing. So now I'm going to tell you, hi Tony, I know you're curious. I'm going to tell you what the Katniss Method is. And to do that, I'm going to first read a passage. It's very short, of the Hunger Games. Okay, so Katniss says, "Heaviness infuses my whole body as if there's liquid lead in my veins. I've lost the will to do the simplest tasks, to do anything but lie here, staring unblinking through the canopy of leaves. For several hours, I remain motionless. As usual, it's the thought of Prim's anxious face." Prim is her sister, for those of you who've not read the books. "As usual, it's the thought of Prim's anxious face as she watches me on the screens back home that breaks me from my lethargy. I give myself a series of simple commands to follow, like, now you have to sit up, Katniss. Now you have to drink water, Katniss. I act on the orders with slow, robotic motions. Now you have to sort the packs, Katniss." Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious from the description where she says there's lead in her veins, she's lost the will to do the simplest tasks, that Katniss is severely depressed. she really has lost the will to live. And so the Katniss method is what follows, where she gives herself these commands and she does them. Even though she really has no desire to do them at all, she follows through because, and again, it's her sister. It's her sister that keeps her going, and knowing that her sister is watching her. Okay, so if you haven't read the Hunger Games, she's on in this games and it's recorded, so her sister can see what she's doing. So this thought has been really helpful for me sometimes, and I'm not comparing myself to Katniss or to what she went through by any stretch of the imagination, but times when I feel really down and unmotivated and close to what I would consider depression, it helps me to kind of give myself simple commands. And I love how she was like, one of her commands was like literally sit up, now drink water. And that's kind of how basic we have to get when we don't have that drive anymore to do the things that we need to do. And so I think a huge difference between depression and burnout, which I talked about on Monday, is that when you're depressed, you literally don't want to do anything and you want to curl up in a ball. And rest is not what you need. You need to get your energy moving again. So besides the fact that if you're in that severe of state that you should get help, whether it's just your family and friends and loved ones, or if it's professional help, besides that, giving yourself these little commands and just making yourself do them can be an extreme help. And I know because I do it myself. I make a list of very simple, easy things to do, and I start doing them, and often my energy will start moving again. And I don't know if there's any scientific basis to this, but I do believe that, sorry, I just lost my train of thought because a text came in. Talk about distraction. I do believe that there is some maybe basis for things when we get stuck. And a depression, I feel like, is when we let it go on too long and we get stuck in these patterns and we don't interrupt them. And that's when a true, like maybe clinical depression, where you really need more help, can happen. But if we can interrupt those patterns early on, my belief is that many of us can avoid the need for medication if that's what we desire. And many people in my circle, in my tribe, if you will, do want to avoid medication as much as possible. And so it's really important that you have tools to stop those patterns early and to get your energy moving again. There are going to be hard times in all of our lives where things are just hard, like our families are suffering, or there's illness, or there's death. And we have to confront those things. We have to be ready. And I'm not talking about being ready, like thinking about them, because you cannot prepare really emotionally or mentally. Like you can't, I think Brene Brown talked about this. You can't. Hi, I'm back. Apparently my Wi-Fi signal is not strong enough to be out there today. So Tony Baloney, if you're still out there, I'm just going to finish up. I think it's really important for us to all have tools. And so I have a blog post I can share for you, with you all. I put it in the links. I think these are really important topics, because so many people are struggling right now. And so I encourage you all to take care of yourself. That is the drum I am beating over and over again. Is so important. The stronger we are, then it will spread out to our families. The better we take care of ourselves, the more good habits we create in our life. It's really, really important work. And so one habit that I am focusing on is I am going to challenge myself to unplug from information seeking even more than I already have. And I'm going to call it an information detox. And so I just invite you all to join me. I'm thinking the rest of the month of June, I am not going to be seeking any information at all. I'm unsubscribing from most of the people that I follow. And I am also not going to be scrolling Facebook at all, and just get focused on what I need to do in my life for my family. So if you want to join me in that, it's not official or anything. I would just love to have you. I would like to find a buddy. I think we should all have a detox buddy. And I will just be posting about that and sharing my experience, sharing things that I'm going to be doing for that. So comment below, or send me a message, or like this if you want to join me in an information detox, because I think it's something we all need in our lives. I love you all, and I have to get going. So remember, be bold, be brave, be you, because who else is there to be? I'll be back next week. Bye.